So today we're going to walk you through the process of dividing water lilies. So this is going to do a couple of things. First, it's going to allow you to have potentially more plants in your pond to make it look more beautiful. Second is it's going to save you a ton of money. So where I come from, the water lilies cost about $60 a pot. So if we can divide them, we can save a ton of money. And if you have too many, hey, there's always the option where you might be able to sell some and make yourself some money. So before we get started, walk you through some of the stuff that we might need. So you're going to need some sort of a pot. I like these guys. It's a 12-inch pot, fairly narrow, hides pretty well in the pond. You're going to need some newspaper of some sort. When you do these, you don't want the pot to have any holes, which of course they come with. So the newsprint covers up the holes and stops any soil or anything from leaching out into the water. You're going to need some medium stone. I've got koi in my pond, so it stops the koi from rooting around in the dirt and digging up your plant or ruining it. And then of course we're going to need some soil of some sort, something on the heavier side. If you can get access to a clay type of soil, that works great. And then to finish it off, we're going to use some aquatic plant food. And to make things a little easier, grab yourself either a sharp knife or a pair of pruners. With all that kind of stuff in mind, let's get started. I'm going to go into the pond and grab a good candidate for splitting, and we'll be right back. So I've got a nice little sample here. So this one shows that it's ready to be repotted. So the rhizome, when we plant starting at one side of the pot, and then as it grows across the pot, and when it hits the edge, it's telling you that it's outgrown its pot and it needs to be redone. So here for sure we'll be able to get one bit of a rhizome here, and then I'm going to guess we'll be at least able to get one other one, and depending, looks like there's some growth coming off here, and here, so we might be able to get a third one, maybe a fourth, depending, but we'll be able to see once we get it out of the pot and cleaned up. So when you're doing this, it's good to have a nice pail of water around, a garden hose. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull everything out of the pot, all the rocks, and then we're going to rinse off any dirt off of the roots. And then we're going to take a good look at the rhizome and figure out where we can cut it and go from there. It's also good in the process of, having the bucket of water, because really you don't want the leaves to dry out, because they will get damaged and potentially die. And don't be super concerned about it, because they will grow back, but it's always nice that you can do as little damage to the plant in the process. You can see this one's actually going ape. Got lots of little buds starting. Some of these we might trim off just to put a little more energy back into the root, but we'll see what we got in a second here. Definitely lots of roots. So this one's, to me, is showing that it's in need of being replanted and divided. Just going to get the hose out. You can really see how those roots just grow around the pot and get all root bound. So I'm going to open this up a bit so we can get at that rhizome a little better. And just work your way around, loosen things up, take your time, wash that dirt out. Some of these roots we're probably going to prune off at the end just before we plant it. So this is that end of the rhizome that was coming up the water, or up out of the pot. And it looks like we've got another one here that was starting. So that's an old one that's dead and gone. I'm going to say, so we've got stuff coming out of here, we've got stuff coming out of there, there's one, and there's one. So out of this one, I'm going to think once we're done, we should be able to get, I think, four plants. So let me just grab my cutters. And you can either use a sharp knife or a pair of loppers, whatever works best. So we're going to start with this one and then work our way back. So I'm going to just somewhere in here give it a good chop. And then separate out some of those roots. Detangle the leaves. So once we replant these, they're all going to get fertilizer, so they'll reestablish themselves pretty quick. You can see some of my leaves. We had a hailstorm the other day, so it blasted out a bunch of leaves, but there's nice new ones growing, so not to be worried about. So that's one nice rhizome there. So typically you're going to plant this with this end at the edge of a pot, roots into the soil, and just keep the top edge, kind of this top piece of the rhizome, so it grows across the top of the soil towards the other end of the pot, and that should end up giving us a nice healthy plant. Alright, so we're at the little planting station. Grab ourselves a nice pot and some dirt. And just a chunk of newsprint. You can take that newsprint and just set it in the bottom. And we're going to grab some dirt. And you can wear gloves if you don't like the dirt, but what fun is that? And maybe one more little scoop. So something like that should be pretty close. So what you want is, you don't want the roots or the rhizome too high, so this will allow me to get the roots in, put a little more cover dressing on it. The rhizome will go one way or the other, start at an edge and work its way across, and if the rhizome is about, an inch or so high, it'll ride across this mound, which should be just about perfect. So, like I said, rhizome, roots come off the bottom, that's where we cut it. We're going to place that kind of neatly, get those roots in there nice. And just up against the edge of the pot. And you can see how that rhizome is going to run across the top layer of the dirt. And then we can bring in the dirt again. And we're just going to top dress that a bit. It's a little dead one. press that down to get it seated so that it doesn't float away. That's starting to look really nice. Rinse off the grubby paws. Then we're going to grab our medium stones. Those up. And I'm just going to give before I do that, I'll have easy access to the soil. This is specific aquatic plant food, so this is great for these guys. I'll start it off with 2 of these little pellets, and then throughout the growing cycle you can toss in another 2 or 3 every 2, 3, 4 weeks kind of thing, depending on how much nutrients is in their water. And you just want to push them into the dirt. I usually do like 1 on each side, not directly into the rhizome area but out by the roots. And then we can top dress that with some nice rocks, and that'll keep my wonderful koi and fish from getting in there and ripping it out of the pot. That's pretty much one done. And then I'll see what we can get out of the rest of the plant. I'm just going to chuck this back into the water so it can start growing, and we'll get started on the next one. Well, unfortunately, that one I put in the pond a little too close to my deep section, and it just slid on down. So I'm going to have to do a rescue mission a little bit later, and I might have to do some repotting on that one to clean it up. So we're going to move back over to our wonderful water bin. So like I said, in Edmonton, to buy a new, definitely not established water lily from the greenhouse is about $60 each. So it adds up. These are hardy water lilies, so I can overwinter these indoors or at the bottom of the pond, somewhere where they won't freeze. If the rhizome freezes, your plant is dead. So we're going to go for this guy here next. These roots are really tangled up, so we're just going to cut through some of them to make my life a little easier. And I think we're going to go right down the center here. And just keep your fingers clear of your cutters. So there's another nice one. I'm just trying to figure out which way this is growing. It looks like it's kind of growing, that's the top. So we're going to put it in the pot like that. And then it should grow this way across the pot. This one's a smaller rhizome, so it's lots of roots, so it's hard to see the actual edge of the rhizome. But definitely looks like it's growing up. So we'll get another pot prepared, and let's get that one in. So you can also do this where you plant it strictly in the gravel. And I think I might do that with the next one. And then we can do a comparison as to how they do. Now, one of the nice things about using this aquatic food is it's a slow release, so it will not add to algae growth in your pond. If you guys are enjoying the content, please hit that like and subscribe button, hit that notify bell. I'd love to hear any of your comments on any of this. Or if you have any questions, feel free to ask. If there's any specific content that you guys would like to see, leave a comment and we'll do our best to produce something for you. There's definitely an eyelet coming off here. You can feel this was the original rhizome here. And there's an eyelet coming off here. I think we're going to just try that. We're going to do this one in dirt, and then the next one in gravel, and then we'll see how they do. And I'll do an update a little later on that. You can do this just about any time of year. If you're going to do it late in the fall, you can just clean up all of the leaves and get it ready for spring kind of thing. Here, so that's not it's a little guy, but it's got lots of root mass, nice little bit of rhizome, some growth. So let's give that one a try. And then here's our last little guy. This one we're going to do just in gravel. I have a pot. So of course the only bad thing about doing this way is you end up using up lots of gravel. A little bit of nutrients. So out of one plant we got 4, so $60 each. It's a savings of $180 in a matter of half an hour, so that's pretty good. I've probably got 10 or 12 potted lilies right now in the pond, so if I divide those, not all of them need to be divided this year, but I'll probably have 20 or 30, so pond should look really nice in a couple of weeks to a month. So there we go. That's one plant into 4. And I think that's going to be awesome. Now I'm going to go rescue my plant that drifted into the bottom of my pond. So again, if you enjoyed, hit that like and subscribe button and the notification bell. Let us know in the comments what you thought. And if there's anything you would like to see, or if you have any questions, leave us a message. Thanks for joining us and have a great day.